Hi class, today we are on Saxon Math, Book 4, Lesson 97, and today we're going to talk about 4 new words: the mean, the median, the range, and the mode. So all 4 of these words have to do with something we call data sets, and that is groups of numbers. Like, let's say you kept track of all your scores on all your math tests, and you had that group of numbers from the beginning of the year until now, every score you received on any math test, we would call that a data set. We might keep data sets for scores in basketball games or football games or any kind of sports. You might keep data sets for inches or centimeters for how tall you've grown, or for how tall maybe a plant that you're growing is getting. So data is just kind of information that we collect, numbers that we collect to try to measure something or kind of keep track of trends, scores, height, that kind of stuff. So these 4 new words, I've given you Mrs. Duarte's definition of them. This is not what you'll find in a dictionary, but it's kind of how I keep it straight in my mind, and hopefully it will help you as well. So yesterday, our lesson was on finding the average. Remember, we would add a set of numbers together, and then we would divide it by however many numbers we added. Mean, not, oh, you're such a meanie, but mean in math means to find the average. So if they say find the mean of this set of numbers, you're going to find the average. You're going to add them, and then you're going to divide. So mean is a math word for average. Median, if you speak Spanish, that could kind of help you understand this word a little better. Media, or media in Spanish, is middle. So finding the median means you're finding the number that falls in the middle. So there's a little bit more to it than that. You have to first put the numbers in order from smallest to greatest, and then find the number in the middle. So that's the median. Range is the difference from the biggest number to the smallest number. So we find that by subtracting biggest number minus smallest number. That'll give you the range. And mode sounds like most. Mode is the number that appears the most in the data set. So you should probably pause and get these all written down in your math dictionary right now. And then when you come back, we're going to do some examples to help you figure these things out. All right, so the first example gives you Ian's 7-game scores. So he scored 80, 85, another 85, 10, 90, 90, and another 85. I'm going to put that at the beginning because I'm running out of room at the end there. So these were Ian's game scores. The question says, find the mean of his game scores. Find the mean. Remember, mean means average, so that's what we were doing yesterday. We're going to have to add all of these scores up. So I'm actually going to turn my board like this so that I can fit them all. So 85, we have 1, 2, we have 3 85s. So instead of adding them, I'm going to multiply times 3. 85 times 3, 5 times 3 is 15, 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1, 25. So that takes care of my 3 85s. I'm just going to cross them out so that I don't forget that I've already added those. So 255 plus, then I have a 90 and a 10. That's 100. Let's cross those out, and now I'm adding 100. So that's 355. Then I have another 90, and I have another 80. And that takes care of all my numbers. So let's add here 5 plus nothing is 5. 5 plus 8 plus 9, let's see, 9 and 8 is 17. 17 plus 5 is going to be 22. Carry my 2. 2 plus 3 is 5. So I got 525. So is that his mean? Is that his average? No, because now I have to divide that by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. So I'm going to now take my 525 and divide it. In fact, let's get rid of all this work here so you're not confused. It was 525 divided by 7. So does 7 go into 5? Nope. Put an X there. Does 7 go into 52? Yes. How many times? 7 times. 7 times 7 is 49. We're going to subtract. I can't take 9 away from 2, so I have to borrow. 12 minus 9 is 3. 4 minus 4 is nothing. Bring down my 5 here. Does 7 go into 35? Yes. 5 times. 5 times 7 is 35. I get 0 remainder. So his average score was 75 points. Or the mean was 75 points. All right, the next question says find the median of Ian's scores. So I'm not going to erase these, but I do have to rewrite them because in order to find the median, I need to have them listed from smallest to biggest. So we're going to start with 10 here. That was his smallest score. Then we go, here, let's cross it out that way so I know I used it. Then we go to 80. That was the next smallest score. Then we have 1, 2, 3 85s. So I have to write that 3 times. I can't just write it once because he scored 85 points 3 times. So done, done, done. And then we have 2 90s. So once again, I have to write it 2 times because he scored 90 twice. Now, how do we find the middle? Let's see. I'm sorry to shake that. Let's see if I can do this on the camera. Usually I have my paper in front of me and I use my 2 fingers and I point to the smallest and the biggest. Then I go to the next one, next smallest, next biggest, then the next one, and then, ooh, there's one number in the middle. That is our median. It's the number in the middle of the data set when they're listed from smallest to biggest. Okay. So the other word that is in our book, in our lesson, but I did not put up on the board, is called an outlier. I'm going to write it here for you. An outlier is a number that doesn't seem to belong with the rest of the numbers. It's either way smaller than the majority of the numbers or it's way bigger. So in this case, do you see that we have an outlier? What is Ian's number that's either way smaller or way bigger? That would be the 10. Mostly, he scored 80 to 90 points. But one game, he just must not have been on his game that night because he only scored 10 points. That's an outlier for Ian. Usually, he scores a lot more than that. All right, there is a way that they want us to show this data. So you guys have done bar graphs, you've done pictographs, you've done circle graphs, you've done line graphs. This is called a line plot. So let me get rid of my outlier here, and we're going to label it a line plot. And you'll see these in tests. You may have already seen some of them, not in your Saxon tests, but in a science book if you use a science curriculum or maybe some of the Illuminate tests. A line plot has a line like this, and then it has numbers listed. We're going to start with 10 because that's our smallest one here. And I am going to just count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. So I counted by tens across the bottom, but if you notice, I put a notch in between to represent the 15, 25, 35, 45. I just didn't write that because I didn't want it to be too crowded down there. But since I have some 85s, I needed to have a notch for that. So in a line plot, you put an X above the line for each score, in this case, that Ian had. So Ian scored 110. We're going to put 1X above the 10. Ian scored 180, so I'm going to come over here to my 80 and put 1X there. Ian scored 385, so above my 85 notch right here, I'll put 3 X's, and you just stack them on top of each other like that. And then he scored 2 90s, so next to my 90, I'll put 2. You can see the outlier really clearly when you have it in a line plot like this, because we can see that all of Ian's points are over here, and way down at the bottom, he scored 110. That's an outlier. It lies far away from the majority of the data. All right, the next question wants us to find the range of Ian's scores. So I'll leave it listed here from smallest to biggest, and to find the range, we have to take the biggest score, which was 90, and we need to subtract the smallest score, which is 10. 90 minus 10 is 80, so 80 is the range of Ian's scores. And finally, they want us to find the mode. Remember, mode means most, so which number shows up the most in Ian's scores? We have 2 90s, but we have 1, 2, 3 85s, so the mode would be, not 80, 85. The mode would be 85. All right, that is it for the examples. We do have some lesson practice problems. So they are in your book on page 614 if you want to look at them with me. Actually, you know what? I am going to have you do them on your own, and we will look at the answers to the lesson practice problems when I see you tomorrow in class. After you do the lesson practice, please do your written practice on page 615. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.